Hello humans, Master Dinnerflex here, bringing you the low quality content you deserve, and today we got new Dragonmaids announced, and they are close to what I was kind of hoping for with this deck. There's still an effect legitimately missing from this deck, but we can get into it a little bit later. But I will say, it's a drastic improvement for what the deck has seen, because this deck is like a low to the ground, low power combo deck. The problem is, it is that, unfortunately, because it very much has a problem where it plays like a one-card combo deck with like really low power inboards, but in reality, you need like 2 or 3 cards to even do anything with what you're doing. So, what these 2 new cards did is give them the opportunity to actually play like a one-card combo deck, and that goes with this, Dragonmaid Lettuce. And this card requires 2 Dragonmaids with different levels but the same attribute, and you don't actually fusion summon it. You contact fuse by banishing 1 on the field and 1 in the graveyard. So basically, what you're about to see here is a bunch of starters that just make this, and we will get into this. So for the starters, all you need is either kitchen, or parlor, or chamber. That's all you need. Everything else will come naturally. I will say, depending on the circumstance, might decide which one you think is a better starter, but the only direct extreme difference between them is these will end with tidying, whereas chamber will end with spheres instead. So you'll see why that ultimately doesn't matter, but it is something to keep in mind, is that these 2 guarantee tidying, this one doesn't. So we will start off with what I personally consider the worst one, which is kitchen. Now, obviously, Parlor doesn't lose out to Droll. This one does, but if you have another Dragonmaid, you could actually make some pretty complex plays. And then this one, while it doesn't grab tidying, it makes spheres, and spheres can lead to a lot of its own independent things. So we will start off with Kitchen and nothing else, and Kitchen's going to grab her big girl version of herself and then discard it. Next, we are going to contact fuse by banishing these 2, and that will allow us to summon Lettuce. And Lettuce, when it's special summoned, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower Dragonmaid monster from your deck. So we will go ahead and summon out Chamber, and then Chamber will get Tidying. Now, this is going to be it for the end phase. So we have a Tidying set, which is a bounce, and then these 2. What does this do? Well, during the next standby phase, we can go ahead and activate its other effect, which we can fusion summon a Dragon Fusion monster from our extra deck by shuffling the materials on your field and or banishment into the deck. So we have a high-level dragon and another Dragonmaid, so we can go ahead and make a Shu. But it's also the standby phase, so if we were to, let's say, link this off during the end phase for a striker to just be there, it's a link 1 Teehee link Rebo, but not during the standby phase. We can also revive this and get another search. So as you can see, by basically just a normal summon, like nothing else except normal summoning a monster, we have this interaction, we are going to grab follow-up, which is Hospitality. This is a follow-up engrave, and then finally, let's say we use the negate first. When we go ahead and summon out House and Bounce, we could also get a pop as a follow-up to the tidying effect. So this could be up to 3 interactions for what is a normal summon, and nothing else taken into account, which is, honestly, much better at making a one-card combo deck than what it had, which wasn't a one-card combo deck. So as you can see, there's like a drastic improvement in the quality of cards, but I want to say the effect this deck is missing out on, it's just a monster that searches a Dragonmaid monster, and nothing else. The problem is, only Kitchen has that effect, and you have to discard a Dragonmaid on resolution, which means it can be a non-search. It basically just becomes a slightly worse Parlor Dragonmaid. So, that was the effect I was hoping they have. Even though they don't have it, this is still pretty solid. But now that we got the basic combo out of the way, let's step it up a bit. Now we're going to take it up 1 notch, and this time we're going to do a 2-card combo, which is Kitchen and Hospitality. So we'll go ahead and do what we did earlier. Normal summon Kitchen, and we are going to add a Dragonmaid, but this time it can be whatever we want. So what we are going to do is we are going to add Chamber and discard it, and afterwards we are going to activate Hospitality, and we would revive the chamber, which in addition will dump the new dark one, which is very nice. That's one of the cool benefits of there finally being a dark monster, which we haven't even gotten to this card's effect yet. So we'll start here. Basically, you can discard it from your hand to special summon a Dragonmaid from your graveyard or banishment, except a copy of itself. While it's on the field, fusion monsters cannot be destroyed by card effects, and then it has the rest of the Dragonmaid effect. So it's a very solid card, but ultimately its stat to go with Hospitality, Hospitality is, like, good. So finally, we'll get a search for, you guessed it, Tidying. Then we are going to banish Chamber and Stern, and we are going to summon out Lettuce, and Lettuce will go ahead and summon out Parlor, which we will go ahead and dump any dragon. Let's just go for Larper. And then finally, we will go ahead and set this. And instead of dumping Larper, let's just go ahead and... Nah, I'll commit. And then we'll finally overlay these two into Meta Reactor, whatever. And we're going to detach a material to search a card coming out in the future, which is basically a counter trap. Rank 3s have been growing into an incredibly versatile rank engine, which is hilarious. And it's so fun to watch, like, goblins summon everything and then some under the sun. But we're just going to keep it basic with the rank 3s, and we're just going to do this. So, during our opponent's standby phase, we get to shuffle these two back, of course, which will then allow us to summon Shu, and Shu in the standby will allow us to summon the Parlor, and then the Parlor will allow us to dump the Stern, so that way we can actually return this for Stern instead of Larper. So what do we have here? Well, we have a Trap Omni Negate. We will detach to add this to hand for an Omni Negate, and then we'll put like a random card, if not this, at the bottom of our deck. That's what this counter trap does. And then finally, we have the Bounce here. We have the Omni Negate here with the possibility of an additional pop with the Tidying. So there's two cards adds an extra layer of interaction and a lot more repeatability. So we are in a pretty good spot, but everything I've shown you currently is really, really simple. It's pretty low to the ground, but that's kind of what you want for a deck like this. Like, if you get hand trapped into Oblivion, just having randomly, like, dragons to summon Lettuce to just, like, keep your plays going is really solid. So it's kind of good to take this kind of approach to the deck, but now we're going to dial it up to 11. Well, now it's time for madness. What you saw earlier was nothing more than a bunch of very simple combos for a one-card combo deck. What you're going to see here is none of that, and we are going to start off with some Dragon Rulers, which should kind of tell you where this is going. But I will say, if you wanted to play Dragonmaids when these cards come out, Dragon Rulers are actually kind of a fine option, but I would recommend, in a real situation, if you're going to play them, keep it simple, and I would probably combine, like, Kashtira cards with it. But ignoring that, let's get into the nonsense, and what you need is a baby Dragon Ruler, one of the starters in Hospitality. So let's start by tossing the starter for Pebbles, which, of course, will get Redox. And then we will activate Dragonmaid Hospitality, and we will go ahead and get our Kitchen, which will go ahead and search and dump its Big Girl form, which we will banish both these to Contact Fuse, into, of course, Lettuce. And Lettuce will go ahead and summon out Laundry, which we will then go ahead and search Tidying. So we are off to a good spot already. Next, we are going to link these two off into Romulus. Yeah, we're going here. And next, we are going to go ahead and activate Ravine, toss the Tidying, and we are going to dump an Ernest. Next, we are going to banish the Dragonmaid and the Pebbles for Redox, and then we are going to special summon Ernest by banishing the Tidying, which now we will go ahead and overlay these two into Arsenal Falcon, which we will go ahead and detach one and summon, of course, Zephyros the Elite, and this is where it gets a little nonsensical. We will link these two off into Wystrix, which will summon another bird from the deck, which we will summon Raider's Wing. We'll then go ahead and bounce the Dragon Ravine, take 400 damage to summon Zephyros, and then we will overlay these two into, of course, Force Tricks. And we will detach the Raider's Wing specifically And that will allow us to get another Dark Bird, which will be Singulaneous, which we can summon. Then we will detach a material to summon the Raider's Wing out of grave. And in addition, the Wise Tricks will go ahead and get us our rank up spell. Next, we'll overlay these two into Queen Dragon Jun. This is one of those cards that has been around forever, and it has an effect that can be terrifying in very specific situations, but 99.9% of the time, it's just a card you forget exists. Next, we are going to link these two off into, unfortunately, Protector Whelp, which you know where that's going. So we will go ahead and dump our... we will go ahead and dump our Destruction Sword. Then we will link these two dragons into spheres. Next, we will activate Dragon Ravine, discard one more monster, and we will go ahead and dump a different named Dragon Ruler, which we will do Tempest, and then we will banish two dragons for Tempest. And then we'll also detach a material, which we will detach the Singulaneous because Raider's Wing gives it targeting protection. And then Jin's on-field effect is dragons cannot be destroyed by battle except her, which means your spheres isn't getting ran over, which is nice. And we will go ahead and summon another level 7. And then, of course, we'll overlay these two into... This one's odd, but I think it's pretty nice, which is Volo... I'm not pronouncing that. And it's a pop, but it's a quick effect if it has a dragon monster as a material. So this is basically a trident, almost exclusively for dragon rulers, which is nice. And then finally, we will activate our rank up spell. Oh, wrong tab. Go ahead and pay that, and then we will get this into Inzector Exabeetle, which of course will attach the... where is it? There it is. This is supposed to be engraved. And now, our opponent cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. So, then when we get to our opponent's standby phase, the lettuce will go ahead and shuffle back this and this to summon Shoes, so we have an Omni Negate. So, our end board is a bounce with spheres, a pop with this, and protection for the spheres. So we have two ways of interacting with anything that would run this over. And then, of course, we have the Omni Negate and all the extra interactions, which, yeah, this is one on the more ridiculous side of this deck, but I think it's very funny because this is like a combo you could do in, like, straight-up Dragon Rulers, but I hadn't found a good way to incorporate it into Dragon Rulers because Dragon Rulers themselves don't have a lot of ways to generate... It might sound weird, but they don't have a lot of ways to generate advantage outside of the babies. Like, it is a weirdly slow roll deck, which you usually don't think about it, but that's both power creep. That's what power creep does to the game. Like, Dragon Rulers is not actually that great at generating a bunch of advantage, which seems such a weird thing to say. But that is kind of what it is. But as you can see here, totally normal Dragonmaid inboard, pretty solid. But that's going to be it for me. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. And hopefully you're excited for the new cards. I didn't show off any of the interactions with the new Dark Dragon. That's just Laundry, or no, not Laundry, which this one. But that's kind of because it is a very situational. It's a kind of redundant effect in this deck because it is ultimately just like, how do I put it? It's basically just another copy of Hospitality, but that can matter sometimes because it's not actual Hospitality, but it's still kind of weird. But in actual gameplay, you'll get to see it used a lot more. But that's going to be it for me. Thank you all for watching, and remember, Master Dinner Flex will take your soul.